Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this right here is Tom Clark's Main Event. What's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. It's your boy here, once again, doing his thing. This is episode 226, 26 weeks removed from the celebration of our 200th episode. I'm just going to do that all the time. You can do the math. I don't have to do the math for you. You can do math, right? So my listeners are smart. Hope everybody's doing great. Happy Friday to you. Hope you've had a great week. I've had a fantastic week. Want to know why? Because I made it to Friday. Isn't that how the old saying goes? If you make it to Friday, you've had an exceptional week. I mean, I don't know if that's a saying or not, but we can start it here, I suppose. Who was first at the table? If you said Sandy in Germany, you are wrong. Oh my God, Sandy was beaten today. Mark Gray has the distinction of being the first at the table. Sandy, you've been one up, my friend. Guten Tag to you, Sandy. Sugar Shane in the house. Double V, Victor Vasquez here. Adam Cole's biggest fan, Ray Dean, is in the house. What's up? Jumpin' Jeff Sharma. I like that one. Elvis Martinez, you don't need a nickname. You got the best name ever. You kidding me? Christopher, what's going on, my friend? Lance Bader, what's happening? Everybody go check out the Dudes at Ringside Wrestling Podcast. I got it that time. Hello, Alicia. How are you? Carlos Martinez. All of our regulars are here. Orlando, what's going on, my friend? Elvis, once again, there you be. Whoa, what are you saying? I announced on Monday at City Council that I'm running for City Council District 1. Everybody go vote for Elvis. Be sure you live there. If not, I'm encouraging voter fraud, and I don't want to do that. Nothing illegal. What's up, Andrew? I hope to catch the full episode this time. Second time in over 2 years since I've been able to catch you live. Holy God, what do you do for a living? Are you like a congressman or something? Good Lord. Those guys don't do anything all day, so you should be able to catch me all the time. Hope you're doing well, my friend. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time with Cameron. Is my trucker friend in Canada. Cam, are you on the road today? Are you on the road? If you are, be safe. What's up, Tim? Time to say, oh yeah, no, yeah. We're going to talk about the wild thing with Mox coming up. My producer in the house, Mr. Nate Dog, Nathan Workman. There you go. Nate, we got to hook you up with someone named Warren so I can do the combo names. It's important. I don't want to just call myself Warren. All right, kids, let's bring on the guests. In case you don't know, now you know. Let's welcome back to the podcast today, Mr. Phil Lindsey and Mr. James Luft. What's up, gentlemen? How are you today?
Going on now. Tired. Arm's still a little bit sore from vax, but I'm good.
Oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it's I've had both of mine, and I think I was telling you this last night that it was like my arm was like stiff, and I got this high, and that was as high as I could go for like the first shot. Second shot wasn't that bad, but it just hurt like crazy, like Brock Lesnar had gave me a couple of thumps in the shoulder. So other than that, I was fine. Is everyone vaccinated? Because if you are, good news. Restrictions are going away, baby. We can start going to see some live wrestling again. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun. We got lots to talk about here today, kids. Lots of stuff to cover. Let's please, everyone, make the guys feel welcome. Guys, you remember the kids. Kids, you remember the guys. This should be a good show. Troy was invited. However, Troy had prior commitments. So any technical difficulties that arise today is hence Troy's fault. So, Troy, if you're watching, don't lay any bad mojo on my show here, okay? We want good vibes from you, my friend. Troy is the fourth horseman in this equation. I threatened to go find Paul Roma. I imagine Paul's not doing much. I don't know. Maybe he's a busy guy. How do I know? But we didn't go find Paul Roma. So we're gonna legion on with the three of us. It'll be the three horsemen here today. The unholy trinity of Tom Clark's Main Event. I don't know where I'm going with that. Let's Sandy says, hi, Swerve and Wolfgang. Well, if this is, then do I get it? Who am I then? How come I don't get a cool name too? That's not fair. People have told me I look like Mox. Does that count?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm as cool as Swerve, but
how do you know you're not Wolfgang? How do you know James isn't Swerve? Maybe James is cooler than the other side of the pillow. How about that? You don't even know.
Yeah, I'm not as cool as Swerve.
None of us are. None of us are.
No one's as cool as Swerve.
No. All right, kids, let's get to the show. We got a bunch of stuff talked about. Phil, you and I were talking about this a little bit last night. We're going to lead off with some headlines. Then we're going to get to WWE Backlash because Phil can't wait to talk about it. Don't let him lie to you. He's anxious. First, let's lead off with this. You are my Onita fan here. And not that I'm not. I just don't know enough about him, which I admitted to you last night. The whole Moxley coming out to a Wild thing and then Eddie Kingston backing him up. First of all, did you guys love this match? Because I freaking popped over this. I really enjoyed this match from start to finish, as I knew I would.
Yeah, I loved it.
Great.
Yeah, I thought the entrance was really cool. I mean, it was clearly an homage to Anita. Yeah, I just thought everything about it was cool. Just the way Nagata entered, the way Mox did his usual entrance with Wild Thing, and yeah, Kingston behind him hyping it up. It just felt like a big match. It felt like a pay-per-view worthy match.
Yeah, definitely. I've got the wrong thing up here, don't I? Because I'm not Troy Grant. Let's try this again. See, I told him. Didn't I say it was going to be Troy's fault? I warned everybody. There we go. See, that's much better. And it's pretty too. And my logo's down there. It's awesome. Hey, so Phil, what do you think? You think this is just a one-time shot of him using the song, or we got like Scrooge McDuck running the joint? He's got all kinds of money. Why not just not to be like that, but I'm just saying he's got the money. You think this will be long-term for Mox or what?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's just a one-time thing. I don't know. I personally like Mox's original theme for him better. I like it just for this match. And I mean, if he would have came out and did this for the barbed wire match, it would have been even cooler. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if it stayed, but personally, I like his original theme better.
Yeah, I like it too. I enjoy his New Japan theme better. The whole Death Rider stuff, I really love that. I think the slower, methodical, bluesy rock fits him better, but that's just me. So, James, what's your takeaway from this match, man? I mean, how good was it?
I loved it. I thought it was really, really hard hitting. It felt like I was watching a New Japan match on Dynamite. Yeah. Even down to like little details of like them having corner men and stuff like that. It really felt, and like the pouring water on each other at the end and all that. The only thing I was a bit upset about was they didn't do anything to kind of hint at who's going to be his next challenger, whether he's going to be defending that against someone in AEW because they had Archer and Rocky in the crowd watching, didn't they? Or whether he's going to do something on Strong. But yeah, it was really cool to see.
I mean, at this point, it's almost like, how do you pin Mox? Because like he's, even without the AEW World title, that was his last loss, right? Was losing to Omega. So
yeah.
Who steps up now, Phil, do you think? Is it from New Japan or is it from AEW? I mean, can two AEW guys battle over a New Japan championship? I wonder.
Don't know.
Weird. I don't know if they've even addressed that.
I'm betting it's going to be somebody from New Japan, probably somebody that's in the States that can't travel right now or something. But it all depends on, when travel restrictions and everything get lifted as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. Man, I mean, if anything else, this match like certified why Mox was world champion for so long, and like it continued to push. Like he is clearly like one of the biggest stars on the roster.
I agree with that. I personally would love to see Tom Lawler show up on Dynamite. I mean, he's technically New Japan, so man, you got to think that Mox would love to work that guy too. So that'd be interesting to see. Lance says, I'm excited we're getting NJPW title match on AEW. That was pretty cool. First time ever contracted New Japan wrestler facing a contracted AEW wrestler for a New Japan championship. That's history. It may not mean something to a lot of people, but to hardcore fans, it's kind of a big deal. Alicia said Mox should still be world champion. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I see what they're doing with Omega. Omega's shtick kind of gets annoying, but I guess that's the point. He's supposed to be annoying, right? James, would you have kept the title on Mox? Do you think it was too soon, or do you think the timing was right to take it off of him?
I think it was time. He had a fantastic run with the belt, but I think it was time to put it on Kenny, and obviously they're leading up to Hangman taking that belt off Kenny eventually. I think what they've done, like the way they've kind of booked Kenny to make him look like this sort of like unbeatable force, they've done a really good job of that. I'd like to see Mox and Kingston win the tag titles though.
Yeah.
I'd really love that tag team. I think they've got such good chemistry together.
I think we're probably heading to that. Reggie says the Rainmaker. Have both of you guys seen Okada live? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Phil, you
I've
have.
I only saw him at All In though.
Still, I mean,
Still
dude,
seeing him.
if Okada shows it up in A&W, tomorrow I'm heading to Florida because like I've got, one of my biggest regrets was never seeing Jordan in his prime. I never saw Jordan at all play. If it's a huge regret I have. I want to be able to say I saw Okada in the ring. I mean, it's, I feel like as a wrestling fan, you got to be able to say that. I mean, what do you think, Phil, about Okada versus Moxley? You think that would be safe for a huge stage with a packed arena? I mean, are we going to get to that point, you think?
I think we could. It's going to be interesting when he's able to go to Japan again and do New Japan shows. Because he's still got a lot of guys on that roster he hasn't wrestled yet. I think they're going to save that for a New Japan show, personally. I think the chances of us getting Omega versus Okada in America are a lot higher.
Yeah, I'm with that. I mean, like I said, I just want to see Kazuchika Okada live. I'm all about that. Let's segue into something else from AEW. All right, so Cody's promo. For the past couple of years, a whole lot of haters have been saying, well, this AEW thing is just a way to feed Cody's ego. Cody wasn't a star in WWE, so he's going to make himself a star in his own company. We see what this is about. They're presenting him like the Triple H character. They've got the entrance. He blows up the throne and all this. He's just there. He's not a star. He's feeding his ego. They're making him a star. And for 2 years, I said, that's not cool. This guy always had potential. He's Dusty's son. He learned from one of the best of all time. He learned from some great people. He was in locker rooms with legends. He's very good. He can talk. He does have a great character. I discounted all that. Wednesday night, I kind of got a glimpse of what people have been criticizing him for, because it's like I had to put my own political stuff in here real quick because I love USA and American stuff, and it kind of felt like, what is going on here? If I had not read criticism of this, I would have criticized it. I would have said, oh, he's putting his own 2 cents worth. Phil, what do you make of this promo, man?
I don't know what he was trying to do with this promo. This thing was all over the place. I mean, like, he started with his political stuff, then he went into like his personal life and jumped into his unborn daughter and threw like some race stuff in there. And all of this is supposed to build towards him being the American dream again in time to challenge the foreign threat of Anthony Ogogo. And I just was like, why? And I mean, I get, the US versus the world thing is a big wrestling trope. And for somebody like Cody, who has been a big, proponent of Southern wrestling, I get it. I get he wants to do like that kind of storyline, but you just don't need it. And I think this storyline with Ogogo just doesn't need it. I think there was a way to get to the American Dream line and say he's going to use that moniker for the pay-per-view. I think there was a way to do that in a much more condensed way and not go into all this political stuff. Because I thought the American Dream line and that stuff was fine. If he had just walked out at Double or Nothing and we didn't hear this promo at all, and the music just hit the American Dream, like the whole, and that just came up and he got the ring announcer to call him the American Dream when he came in, it would have been perfect. You didn't need this.
And bring him out to Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, because Dusty used that all the time. and bring him out to it, put it in the old style satin 80s wrestling jacket with Dream on the back of it, because and put him in the dusty cowboy boots. He's Dusty's kid. He should be allowed to do what he wants in his father's memory. Let him go with God. I would love to see that. And like you said, Phil, just do it unannounced. So, James, you are the foreign threat of this podcast. So,
yes.
So do you get where Phil's coming from? Why the need for all this, man? And by the way, we as Americans apologize for our hyper patriotism because sometimes it's a bit much. I felt this was a bit much.
It's all right. I was gonna come on with the Union Jack painted on my face, but I thought it might have been overkill.
That'd be awesome.
I just hate this whole like foreign menace like storyline anyway. Like I'm not just saying that because I'm British. I mean with anyone. It's just a little bit too played out now. I think they've gone to that well far too many times, and I was hoping they wouldn't. But as soon as Go put the Union Jack like in his pocket, I was like, oh, here we go. I really like Anthony Ogogo anyway. I feel like they could have done a better job. Like when they started AEW, they obviously had Cody like say he personally signed Ogogo and he was personally training him, and he was kind of like his project to make him like a really good wrestler. They could have quite easily gone down that road instead of doing UK versus USA. I just feel like it's a bit hokey. And Cody rambled a lot in that promo.
And, for all we know, it was Anthony behind the scenes saying, is it cool if we bring Dusty into this? I would, because I'm a Dusty fan and is okay with you. We don't even know that this all came from Cody. It could have come from somebody else. We often attribute what a guy says during a promo. Well, this was all him. We don't know that. It could have been somebody else. I mean, we know in that company, no one's feeding him lines. Thank God. So we don't have to worry about that. But maybe it didn't necessarily even come from Cody himself, which.
That's true.
If that's the case, I think I'm okay with that, but it did feel very odd. Everybody, while you're here, hit that thumbs up and that heart button. It means loads to me. I get no cash from that. Wouldn't it be great if I did? Shannon just showed up. Shannon, hope you're well. I wanted to get a comment on here. Where'd we go? Let's see. Robbie says, I want to address something off topic. What is the deal with AW tearing tag teams and factions apart? That's WWE's thing. AW works with factions, and that's what sets them apart as their own company. Apologies for going off topic. James, what's your take on that? It's not like they've been doing it for months. And the factions that are like SoCal and Cinch has been going for a long time. It's not like it just started last week and they split them up this week. So you think there's some merit to what Robbie's saying here?
I'm not so sure. I think a lot of like they haven't really split up many teams or factions, and I think a lot of them doing that is more to kind of like start new storylines with those people and like kind of give them a little something else to focus on. I mean, as far as factions go, it's only really like the Factory splitting off from the Nightmare family, isn't it? It's not. Yeah. Obviously, they're teasing in a circle at Double or Nothing, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle in the Stadium Showdown again, Phil, or at Stadium Showdown. How does everybody feel about this angle? It's I kind of thought it was done, but it's not done. What has to happen? If we're trying to get the Pinnacle over, does this mean that Inner Circle wins the next match? Because if they do, it's like now we're even Steven. Now we're going to go back for a third thing. I mean, what's the plan here, you think?
I personally think that they should win and Inner Circle should break up. I don't think you can do much more with this stable. I think it's run its course. I don't buy into Jericho as a face. I just don't. Sammy and Proud and Powerful are much better faces. They should go off and do their own thing. I am just dying for Santana and Ortiz to be a dominant tag team. And I think Sammy belongs in the TNT title picture. I don't think at this point I feel like that stable is holding them back. I think the Pinnacle should step up and be the top heel stable now. I don't feel like there's anything else you can do with Inner Circle. And maybe that means Jericho's off TV for a little bit and he does some other things and comes back. I don't know. I personally feel like they should have made the Blood and Guts match the pay-per-view match. I think putting it in the middle of the month when you're building to a pay-per-view made it feel like there was no real consequences to that match.
I agree with that. And, to that point, man, you can't have Tanahashi and Okada on the world title level in the same company at the same time. You can, but that means they got to work each other. So there has to be, in my mind, a clear distinction. So you trade back and forth and you elevate one and lower another to a bit, and which they managed to spin the plates pretty well with those two guys. But in AEW, you can't, if you're the Pinnacles out here saying they're the top, Inner Circle saying they're the top, you can only do that for so long until it becomes neither one of you are at the top. You're both full of crap because no one's getting over. Someone's got to get over here, James, and it feels like the Pinnacle is the faction that's got to get over here.
Absolutely. I think it's far too soon for the Pinnacle to lose any matches. They've only really been going for 2 months. So
yeah,
they need to win Stadium Stampede for me. I would have even, to Phil's point about Blood and Guts being on a pay-per-view, I would have even said hold that. I would have held that off to All Out, is it? Is that the August one?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, and then have that end the feud. But it was a bit weird. They started it with Blood and Guts. I think they just kind of wanted to get it out of the system, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to be a TV match the first time. So I think they wanted to make it this big TV match again. But having it in the same month as a pay-per-view is probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
And, the Shivani and Ross are having to say, well, back at the original Blood and Guts match. And we're like, come on, guys. I get it. But, MLW has this weird thing with WWE where MLW managed to trademark the name War Games first, but they did it as two words. So then WWE fired back and said, well, we'll just put them together, which is not violating the trademark. So now I think MLW can still use the term War Games, but they were the first ones to punch, if my memory serves, to trademark that. So, AEW missed out on that. I mean, I get it. It's okay. I mean, at some point, maybe they could have said, folks, you might recognize this as a traditional War Games match. And AEW, this is Blood and Guts. This is what it's supposed to be. This is, and then put over the fact that their name means more or something. I don't know. A couple more before we get to Backlash. I love doing that. Miro versus Darby. I knew this was going to be good. Dude, this was much better than I thought. I am tired of Miro catching crap. I'm sick of it. I mean, I'm not talking about the guy on Twitter that tweets weird stuff and the stuff with him and Lana from WWE, whatever. I don't care. I'm talking about the character on TV. He's in probably the best shape I've ever seen him. He completely fits into his own skin. I mean, you can throw Darby around and look like $1 million. Anybody can, right? But he sold for Miro. Miro, you could tell, was protecting him. He wasn't. I mean, he was being safe as Darby will allow you to be with him. I really enjoyed this match. Phil, what's your take on this?
Man, I think we've got to give Darby his credit. He has given us some fantastic main events as champion. He was a great champion. I think he was probably the most believable underdog babyface character we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, all the punishment he took before the bell rang, he already had the shoulder injury from taking that absolutely insane bump down the stairs, which I'm just like, Darby, please relax. Don't hurt yourself. It's okay. So, I mean, all of the punishment he took before that, and then when he finally, had his comeback and he had that awesome dive where he just bounced off of Miro. It all looked awesome. It actually looked like he was going to win when he hit the cold red. And they did a great job making him look like a believable champion here that could beat Miro, but still doing the right thing and putting the title on Miro.
Great point. Both guys came out of this looking pretty well. I didn't think Darby came out of this, James, looking lesser. I don't think Miro come out looking like they handed something to him that he didn't earn. It felt like Miro earned this, and it felt like Darby did the honors the right way, and really Miro's a beast. And I'm sorry, but he should be. I know Archer's there. I get it, but Miro should be a beast. He's not that funny video game nonsense guy. I mean, all due respect to his real life persona, but I want Miro the beast. That's what I want, and we got it Wednesday. So what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think this was kind of like the Miro that everyone was clamoring for when he arrived in AEW. Like, everyone wanted him to just be this destroyer. And the stuff with Kip, it served a purpose because we kind of got to see the evolution of Miro from being like a goofy best man guy to being an absolute cold-blooded like lunatic. I think him and Archer are gonna have an awesome match. I'm really excited for that. I feel like it's a really good way as well to have Miro like legitimized as a beast by beating Archer.
Yeah,
because Archer's like the guy that everyone like falls to. So that would be cool. I think Darby's title reign as well was like, as Phil said, he couldn't have said it any better. Really, like it's been so good, and he's really elevated that belt. I think Miro's gonna carry on that ilk now as well.
I think so too. I hope this is a long title reign. I don't want it to be a month and he's done. I wanted this to be. I mean, they had him come out a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was and say, I warned everybody. No one listened. None of you listened. And now you're going to find out. I will win. And I'm thinking, well, he's winning. Because you can't give that to a guy and then he loses. Because if you do, you've killed him. So they did the right thing. It was the right moment for Darby to lose. Sting feels like an afterthought now. And I didn't think I would ever hear myself say that. Again, as I've said multiple times here on the show, there's two perceptions, ours and theirs. They may not feel that way. Sting may be perfectly fine with how it's being used. He's like, hey, I'm along for the ride. I enjoy this. I love these guys, whatever. But from my perspective, it kind of almost feels like, are you devaluing Sting every time he just kind of stands at ringside and he's not Sting? He's just kind of Sting. Phil, what do you think?
I don't think he needs to be on TV every week. I think that's hurting him. I think the stuff with him and Darby is interesting. I mean, clearly they're building to a match with him and Darby at some point. But I just don't think he needs to be at ringside for every Darby match.
James, it does feel like a bit much. Are they devaluing him, you think?
I think him showing up every week, it's losing a bit of the kind of magic of when he first showed up and it was like, oh my God, it's Sting. And now it's like, oh, it's Sting. What's he got? Like, because they're so limited in the way they can use him. They can't have him wrestle every week. So it's either he cuts pretty much the same promo with Shivani every week and then gets attacked by someone, or he's just there scaring off people trying to get involved in Darby's match. Yeah, I'm with Phil. I think maybe after Double or Nothing, write him off TV for a bit.
Shannon says Darby will be fine without the title. He's an absolute star. This is the mirror I was waiting for. Well said. I think we all three agree on both of those points. Reggie says Mr. Brody Lee was the true TNT champion. A lot of mad respect for Brody Lee. They do have to carry on, Reg, but I totally respect what you're saying. Cherie says really wanted Daniels to win the tag team championship. Sad to see that he's going to retire. Have they said officially? I haven't looked at the social media since Wednesday. Has he officially said, I'm done? Thanks. It's been a great ride. Does anybody know?
He alluded to it. He like tweeted something out saying, I think I'm done or something like that. Or I think that's it. But he never flat out said he's retiring. He just kind of alluded to it.
Well, I tell you what, even if one day he leaves, no matter what company he ends up with, he will be a valuable asset backstage. I mean, put him, if you got a crap tag team division, you hire Chris Daniels and say, we got 6 teams, make it happen. We're going to leave you alone. Go with God. I mean, dude, he could revitalize it, I think. I mean, the dude has so much knowledge. It's crazy. Phil, we all kind of assume that he's going to stay with AEW. You think there's any possibility he'll split anytime soon, or you think he's pretty happy there? What's your thought on that?
No, I think he's going to stay put. I mean, I think he's coaching anyway. I think this is just a way to, put a pin in SCU, and he can do more of a role backstage. And if they need him to come in for an angle as a singles competitor, they can do that. Because, I mean, to my understanding of what they've been doing with SCU from day one, it was all to highlight Scorpio Sky. It was all to make Scorpio Sky the star of the group. And then Scorpio went off on his own. At that point, you don't need SCU as a group anymore after Scorpio's off doing his own thing.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I'd kind of forgotten that bit. But no, you're completely right. That's because Scorpio was on Jericho's podcast, I think, when he was talking about that, someone's podcast, and talking about how that they they just kind of pulled him in and said, "Hey, man, this is your chance to really get over and stuff." And yeah, it makes perfect sense. Before we get into Backlash, let's talk about something that hit the headlines this week. Bray Wyatt is supposedly, rumoredly, dealing with some stuff from Brody's passing. I don't know how people find this out. It's crazy. I guess they're just all talking to each other, I suppose. But James, when you heard about this, what's your first takeaway from this, man, for Bray Wyatt?
I mean, give him the time he needs. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
if he is dealing with stuff to do with that, I think it's only fair to give him like time to like grieve for it.
Yeah.
It would explain why we've literally only seen him like twice since, or 2 or 3 times anyway, since was it TLC? Well, since Brody's passing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hope he's okay.
Phil, one of the prevailing notions behind grief is for a lot of people, you keep going. You go back to work the next day. You just keep going because it's better to keep yourself occupied, keep yourself distracted than it is to sit at home and think about what you lost. And we've all been there. We've all, I'm sure, lost somebody. But it looks like, staying on the grind and doing this maybe didn't work out for him too well. But to echo James, Phil, the best thing that Bray can do is do what's best for himself right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's got to be tough because it's not like you're going off and you're doing something to keep you busy that is like a distraction. You're going off to do something that keeps you busy that was totally connected to this guy that passed away. Like everything you did with WWE, Brody was a big part of it. Like, I mean, the act that got you over, you guys did that together. Like every big moment you guys had as a group, he was there. So I could see how it's very hard to move on from that and still, want to wrestle and still do things with the company.
Yeah, and all our best to Bray. He follows me on Twitter, and we exchanged a few pleasantries a couple years back, and he seems like a really good guy. So you don't wish this kind of thing on anybody, and obviously Brody's family is always going to be dealing with this. The fans who were really respect and love this guy. There's something to be said for an entertainer's ability to reach out and touch somebody. People are still feeling deaths that have been years and years ago. I mean, it's just everybody processes it differently. And this guy, I'm sure, was as much of a brother to Bray as his actual brother is. So that there's something to be said for that. And of course, all our best to him. Reggie says, Bray and Brody, really good friends. I understand where he's coming from. I lost my wife last month. Reggie, I remember that, man. Dude, all of our best to you, man. Keep your head up, my friend. Time doesn't heal, but it helps. It takes time, but it'll help eventually. This is not a segue at all. It's something really hardcore serious to something kind of lighthearted, but I don't have a banner for this, but I saw this headline on one of these websites that shall remain nameless. Something to the effect of, Damian Priest was supposedly told, hey, listen, if this thing with the Bad Bunny guy didn't work out, you're done. It's over. Dude, on what planet do either of you guys buy this, that Priest was told, hey, listen, if this doesn't work, you're done? He's been on the main roster for 10 minutes. Would he really be told this? This sounds like the biggest bunch of hoo-ha nonsense, Phil, that I've ever heard. Tell me that I'm right, and this is all a joke, of somebody's sick joke of it being serious.
I mean, it's a very loaded comment.
Because I'm right, right?
Yeah, it's very loaded. I mean, I don't think that it's real.
Are you there? Phil, we got you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ooh. Oh, there we are. Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I think it's a very loaded comment. Like, I just don't see how it could be real. And then on top of that, like, the odds of it not working, it's just like, it's Bad Bunny. Like, it's going to work. So I don't know. I just think people put too much credence into these kind of things. It just, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
And then, of course, James, as this thing often tends to go, one website wrote it and then 20 more grabbed it and quoted it. And I'm like, this sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard, that a guy who just got there would be threatened with this. If this doesn't work, you're done, as if it's his fault if it doesn't work. Let's forget the 20 guys backstage. Let's forget the litany of storyline writers, the people handing them scripts, telling them what to say, how to say it, what to wear, when to wear it, fix their hair, do their makeup, all this nonsense, but it's going to be his fault. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of pressure to put it. Like, it's a high pressure situation to put him in anyway. Like with the Bad Bunny thing, because obviously it was like a really high profile match, as you say. He's been there for a cup of coffee. So yeah, I think everyone involved like came out looking really good. Did a really good job of it. It was one of my favorite matches from Mania weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed every second of it. I thought it was really well done. And Bunny was ready. We knew he would be. I don't think we knew to what extent he would be, but man, he was ready. And he took it seriously. And that's all you can hope for. There's been very few in the past several years. Stephen Amell is another one who took it very seriously. He didn't laugh at all. He didn't think it was a joke. He took it for real. And I mean, it's when you get those guys, those are the ones you appreciate more than anybody else. Let's get on to why we're here, Phil. WrestleMania Backlash. Troy somewhere going, oh my God, thank God they've gotten to it. All right, here we go. Sink your teeth in, kids, because if you thought this was WrestleMania Rewind, you're right. Here we go again. Speaking of Damian Priest, the Archer of Infamy. Are they still calling him that? The Archer? I don't even know what the...
Yeah.
I think so.
He's still doing the Archer gimmick. So,
yes, yeah. So Hawkeye takes on The Miz in a lumberjack match because we need to see The Miz versus Green Arrow again. I don't get this. I don't know why we're still doing this. Why, James, are we still doing this feud between these two guys?
Probably because they've got no idea what else to do. Yeah, I'm so ready for this feud to be over. I hope this is the last match. It's getting to the point where it's starting to hurt Damian Priest, I think, being involved in this feud with like The Miz, because it's just dragging out.
Great point, Phil. To James's point, a guy like Miz can help you. Has that time come and gone for Legolas? It's another Archer reference. I had to.
I think The Miz stuff helped Bad Bunny more than anything. So I don't think you need him with Damian Priest. I think this thing should have ended at WrestleMania. There was no reason to revisit doing a 50-50 thing and having Bad Bunny, not Bad Bunny, but Damian Priest lose to Miz with his pants falling down. A night later was just idiotic, and it just took away from the win at WrestleMania. And then you continue this thing going. I don't even understand why Miz and Morrison are still a thing. Like, break them up as soon as possible. I'm just completely over it.
Yeah, completely over it. I mean, you just look at a guy like Drew McIntyre, and I know there's a big difference between McIntyre and Morrison, but there doesn't have to be. I mean, had McIntyre been floundering along with Ziggler or whoever and still not gotten where he needs to be, and then he, instead of doing that, they put him there, and you're like, oh my God, this guy's coming to his own. That could be Morrison right now for all we know, but we don't know because he's content to. And again, if he's happy, great. If this is what he wants, great. But as fans, we kind of want to see him do some more stuff. And I don't know. They're just not doing it for whatever reason. So someone give me a prediction. And James, who's going over here? So I can move on to the next bit of hoo-ha here.
It's got to be Priest, surely. They can use this like Priest winning to split up Miz and Morrison. Maybe Morrison like accidentally costs Miz or gets him like beaten up by the lumberjacks or something. Yeah.
Or maybe Morrison serves up Priest on a silver platter and Miz can't seal the deal.
Yeah.
And he's like, and Morrison turns on him. Phil, so you got Priest in this one too, yes?
I mean, it better be Priest. I mean, if Miz wins this match, I don't know what the heck we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to get him over again. Alicia says, I still haven't figured out how Morrison went from bad A Johnny Mundo to this crappy version of John Morrison. Alicia, to be blunt with you, it's what he wanted. He was okay with it. For all we know, he wanted to work with Mike again, and he's perfectly fine. We can all sit back and say, this is crap. He doesn't feel that way, maybe. We don't know. It's just, easy for us to all talk about it because it's what we do, and that's fine. Shane's going to throw this in, and I don't mind him throwing it in. Did y'all like Jinder Mahal and his new faction, Veer and Shanky? I saw the what do they call it with the Stars of India, and I think Phil, I might have told both of you guys that show was actually really good. I enjoyed it. So what's everybody's take on Jinder Mahal? And James, before you answer, don't hinder gender. Now, go.
Never hinder gender. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Actually, I think it's like something new, it's something different. And yeah, see where it goes. I think Jinder's like improved leaps and bounds since his title run. His character works brilliant, and yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I guess it's going to end up him and Drew.
Probably so. Yeah. Phil, are we looking at Jinder taking the championship off of Drew in 6 months or something? Is that what we're leading to, you think?
No. I don't think so.
That was great.
I don't think it is. I think the best thing about this thing, I didn't see a whole lot of this segment when it aired, but I thought the most hilarious thing was WWE tweeting about it and calling our guy not Shanky, but Skanky.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Jeez. This is a good one. Victor says, look like the Singh brothers ate Super Mario mushrooms. That's actually not bad.
What happened to the other guy that was in that tag team when it was in NXT?
Wasn't he the one that tweeted out the picture of Keith Lee holding the belts when he pre-recorded it?
Oh, wow. Is he still getting punished for that?
So, well, maybe he's in the doghouse a little bit.
Yikes. Mark says, is Jeff Hardy only being used as somebody to enhance talent? Mark, here's the deal. You can do two things with Jeff Hardy right now. You can do what you just said and have him help the younger guys, or you put him main event. I don't think there's any in between. I don't think Jeff Hardy as a semi-main event is going to cut it. I think he's either a top guy, or he's helping other younger guys coming up the food chain. Phil, am I wrong about this? You think maybe there's only 2 spots for him, considering who he is, his name, what he means to fans, what he's meant to everybody all these years? It kind of feels like he's only got 2 places to go here.
I mean, you've got to do something other than what they're doing. They went from constantly referencing his addictions to putting him basically on main event, and it just doesn't do anything for him, man. I mean, if you're not going to make this guy matter, I mean, why did you re-sign him? I don't get it.
James, it boggles my mind. We got a former WWE champion, a former main event guy, a guy that, for all of his faults, and we're all human kids, but he's done a lot of stuff wrong to himself and in his life and stuff. And, people still rally behind this guy. If we were in front of live crowds, like sold out arenas, they'd still be popping for him because they love Jeff. And I guess the biggest question is here, why aren't they doing more with him, you think?
I honestly don't know. It's weird. Like, how do you not have something for Jeff Hardy to do? And even like when you say about enhancing talent, they could quite easily put him in the role that Sheamus is in right now. Not that I'm upset Sheamus is in that role, because I think he's definitely deserves to be there. But have him as like the mid-card champion, like either they put him on SmackDown, have him win the IC title maybe, or put him on Raw, and then just have good matches with up-and-coming guys. And then everyone looks better because of it. But to see the way they are using him, it's insane. It really is. I
agree. Shannon just said the storyline with Jeff's addiction was 2 words: hot garbage. Shannon, that's Amen. For you. She's right. It was freaking terrible. I can't to say enough how horrible that thing was. Let's get on with the rest of this phenomenal Backlash card. We have Ziggler and Rude defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the Mysterios. I happen to like Rude and Ziggler together, although it still kind of feels like, hey, we got these 2 guys that have been here for a long time, and they're both really good, but we don't really care about them. You want to just put them together? Sure. But because they're pros, because they're both very good, they have made it work. I actually like them together, and I think it's fine. Do they drop the belts, James, on Sunday?
I think so. They've been kind of dangling the carrot of the Mysterios being the first father and son tag champs in WWE. I think so. I mean, we were talking about this on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. It almost feels as if Ziggler and Rude holding the belts, not really doing anything with them, starting to devalue the titles a bit, because they didn't defend them for like the better part of 2 months. And when they did, it was pretty much the same match with the Street Profits, where it's great to see those guys doing something, but it's not really working, is it?
No, I don't think it is. Phil Carlos says, I'm tired of the Mysterios. Are you hearing that a lot? Are you seeing a lot of people react like, it's not that they don't like either one of them, but it's like, man, it's all the time with these two. You think maybe it's just overexposure for those two guys?
I don't know if it's overexposure. I just don't think they have defined characters other than they're the Mysterios. It's just like, hey, Mysterio's great, isn't he, guys? Here's his son. It's like, it just doesn't feel like there's anything to them other than that. But with that said, I think they should win the titles. I was really surprised that they didn't have them win in front of a live crowd at WrestleMania. I thought that would have been a big moment for them. I mean, if they don't win, well, I don't know when their next pay-per-view is, but having him win on that close to Father's Day is a good one.
Ooh.
I don't know, but I think you've got to pull the trigger on this eventually. Otherwise, you're just gonna continue to keep dangling this thing with no reward.
Shannon says, love to see Dominic on his own. We'll get there. Dominic's got, he's just got, just the ideal situation. And we're all pretty sure this is one of the stipulations that was involved in getting Ray to sign back with the company when he did. I would dare say that whether that someone was a Vince or Hunter, whoever said, hey, pal, we'll take care of your kid and be sure he gets everything he needs. And because let's face it, Ray could be blowing up in Japan. He could have been blowing up in AEW, anywhere he wanted to. And let's be fair, Dominic could have went with him to do the same thing. But, he's got the best of conditions in that PC, and they're taking care of him, and he's learning and he's getting better. And, all that makes perfect sense. We'll see what happens. Elvis with, will Dominic turn on Ray? And Elvis, I'm very glad you brought this up, because as WWE fans, everyone on the planet, from the day his kid got there, said, he's turning on Ray. It's going to happen tonight. And the next night, he didn't do it. It'll happen tonight, because that's what this company does. Right? Am I wrong? Do you see that from any company traditionally, historically? We have to turn him on his dad. We just have to do it. Like, I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet, Phil. I'm stunned it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they also have conditioned us to believe that any tag team is going to eventually break up. I mean, you still have people to this day yelling, the New Day's got to break up. They've got to break up. No, they don't. No, they do not.
No, they do not ever need to break up.
So I think it's just the fans wanting to be cynical about tag team wrestling. And that's possibly partially us having, being conditioned that way by the company. But I don't think there's any need to turn him heel. I think you can get this feel-good moment of them winning the titles together and have him go off and do other things later. But I'm not sure if he's ready for a singles run yet.
Yeah, I think it would be, we would constantly see Ray at ringside or see him mentoring him, and that's fine. But yeah, it'd be sink or swim in terms of his character in kayfabe, right? So I don't know if we'd get there or not anytime soon. But, as we say with all this stuff, we'll wait and see. Let's get to the great big championship matches we got going on here, kids. Roman Reigns versus Cesaro in a Universal title match. And what I like to call, this is just for Cesaro to look good. Because he's not winning the belt that I don't believe he is. I never say never, because you never can tell. I'm not, well, Tom's got something here. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he will, James. What's your thoughts on this match? And it occurs to me, I've said, what's your thoughts 3 times, which means I could be a backstage interviewer for WWE. So my resume's in the mail, Vince. Check it. I'll be good to say, you just got 15 staples in your head. What's your thoughts? Because that's what they do all the time. So James, it's the truth. James, save me here. First of all, James, before you get started, this will be a phenomenal match, I think. I think this is going to be fun to watch from start to finish.
Yeah, this is the match I'm most excited about from this card. Roman's not losing. Roman's historic reign as champion isn't ending on WrestleMania Backlash of all shows, let's be honest. It's that they're probably gonna at least hold it off till SummerSlam when they've definitely got fans in the crowd. But I think it's really gonna elevate Cesaro, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was the first of a few matches in the feud.
Ooh.
As well. Yeah, I just hope they don't let Cesaro down like they have done multiple times throughout his WWE career. Just let him do his thing.
So, Phil, are we looking at the beginning of a lengthy feud between these two? And also part 2 of this, to James's point, does Roman's reign end at SummerSlam, and does it end to Jinder Mahal? Because that's I just wanted to pop you again. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks Roman's losing this. I think this is definitely a way to get Cesaro where he belongs in a world title match, and he should have been there a long time ago. But no way do I believe that 40-year-old Cesaro is beating our tribal chief. The whole story here is the tribal chief is going to beat down all you smarks faves, and he is going to laugh in your face as you boo. That is what's happening here. Everyone loves Cesaro, and Reigns is going to beat him.
Yeah, I think this will. I guess maybe the bigger issue for me is why would you do a trifecta of matches if the goal is not to put the bet on Cesaro? If the goal is just to build him as a main event contender, that's fine. But doesn't that mean that at one point during one of those matches, he needs to have Roman's shoulders pinned and the refs knocked out, and it's a clear 3? But then Roman somehow pulls out the win. Don't we need to get him to that point where it's like, oh my God, he could have been champion tonight? You know what I mean? It's not enough to just put him in the ring with Roman, is it?
I mean, the easy solution to that would be to get to the next match, have him have to beat Roman in a non-title match, and then he does. And then you've got Cesaro getting his win over Roman. He's just not losing the belt.
I really like that. Phil, do you think that does anything to Roman's level of dominance, or you think he's cool with that?
No, I think there's a way you can do this, even if he just pins him in a tag match. There's a way to get to the second match and make this an interesting feud that, keeps going into Money in the Bank or something. But yeah, Roman's not losing. I really have to give WWE credit. I didn't pick it up until WrestleMania, and I watched him stack them on top of each other, and he pinned them. I was like, they're totally doing. Roman has always been the guy that smarks don't like. And so now you have him beating the guy that smarks love. Everybody loves Edge. Everybody loves Daniel Bryan. But they didn't like Roman, and he embarrassed them on WrestleMania. And then he went even further and retired your fave. Get the hell out of here, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I am the tribal chief. I am champion. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Cesaro. I think he's going to beat him dominantly here, if not this match, but at some point.
Marcus says, I see a Rollins versus Reigns match coming soon. I don't care about this. I've seen too many Shield stuff, and Marcus, you're probably right. I don't care about that. I just Seth's too good of a heel. Roman's too good of a heel. I don't even know why they're still in the same brand. That blows my mind. They should be as far apart from each other they could possibly be. James, what benefit is there to Roman versus Seth? I mean, seriously.
I mean, it'll be a good match regardless. That's one plus. One thing I did pick up on last week, for the first time they were actually sharing the screen together. Everybody on Twitter was like losing their mind. Like they were acting like it was a huge thing. So there's obviously the appeal there. I'm with you. I don't want to see it anytime soon. I think while a heel versus heel match between the two would be compelling, I really like what Seth's doing, where he's kind of like doing the whole cult leader thing, and he's just being a nasty heel. Just keep him away from the title picture for the time being, I think.
I mean, Phil, if this were in front of live audiences, other than the fact that it would be a good match, you got one guy saying, I don't care about you people. And the other guy comes out and says, well, I don't care about you people either. So it's like, well, then I don't care about this. What do you think that would hurt it in the slightest, or would people even care about the heel babyface stuff if these two guys, kind of went to war with each other?
I think there's just so much history there that they're going to do it inevitably. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but I feel like there's enough that they can tease towards it. I don't know how they're going to make the heel versus heel thing work, but I absolutely love the fact that Roman has basically never forgot. And that's been his whole thing throughout this reign. He has never forgotten how you guys chose that guy over me, and I was always the guy. And I think there's a story to tell with Roman saying, no, you chose those guys over me. They made you champion, and I am still here. I am the champion. I have main evented WrestleMania 5 times, and you are not even a champion anymore. I'm the guy.
And if he dances that dance, then Triple H comes out to dance it with him because Triple H chose Seth.
Yeah.
So
there's plenty you can do with a Roman versus Rollins storyline. I think Rollins is fantastic.
Yeah.
I agree with you that he should be on Raw. Raw has suffered mightily without him. I don't know why he's there. I think the idea of them having a champion versus champion match at Survivor Series is much more interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get to the first of the week. I only got 3 matches left on this spectacular card. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. James, who you got in this match and why?
It needs to be Rhea. She's only just won it. Like, it'd be so damaging if she loses, like, in a first proper defense, because obviously the match with Asuka on, was it Raw After Mania where Charlotte attacked them both? It was, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. So she needs to win it. WWE love putting Charlotte and putting the belt on Charlotte, so I'm terrified they're going to do that. But I also think maybe Alexa's going to get involved and target Charlotte as like her next sort of person she's going after.
Target Charlotte. You may just come up with a catchphrase. I really like that. Target Charlotte. Phil, the Alexa Bliss stuff. This is related. The Alexa Bliss stuff was over here by itself with her on the swing with the laugh that couldn't be phonier if it had to be. It's the phoniest laugh. I'm sorry to. It's horrible. And she's got the eyeliner and she's evil and she's got the contacts and she's got, pigtails and she's on a swing. All right. But it didn't matter. But now it matters because Shayna Baszler's legs don't work anymore. Uh-oh. She's got some black magic, Phil. Hocus pocus happening. So now is she, dude, they reinserted her back in the women's division. What are we looking at right now, Phil? What are we looking at with her thrust back into the women's division with that character?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I've been trying. I think the character work is good. I've been trying to enjoy her just doing stuff and using her acting chops because I think that's where she shines. But this spooky gimmick doesn't work without Bray. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
I think all of the weeks that he's been missing has just exposed the fact that she's just not as good as he is. Yeah. I hope she's not going to do this no-sell gimmick where everybody has to give her all their best offense and then she beats them easily. I don't want to see that. That's
oh man.
I don't want it. Man, it's tough to predict this match because I feel like this is absolutely a spot where they would make Charlotte champion. I want to be wrong. I really, really want to be wrong. I think this is a no-win situation because even if Charlotte doesn't win here, Asuka's definitely eating the pin. And this is more of Asuka not looking good. I didn't understand why you had to go out of your way to have Asuka get pinned this week in a non-title match. I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing with Asuka. It doesn't make any sense. I think no matter who wins here, if it's Rhea or Charlotte, Asuka's definitely eating the pin.
Asuka's seeing the lights more than, the Brooklyn Brawler these days. Basically.
Hot garbage!
Alexa Bliss making Shayna Baszler's legs not work anymore because, mojo, bad mojo.
Hot garbage!
That's a twofer on the same subject with 2 different people. It's the Showtime. WB, it's jazz hands. It's Showtime. You lose me quick. And this is a guy that can, I have to already, as a wrestling fan my whole life, I already have to okay, if they're punching each other in the face, how come he never gets a black eye? If they're running their nails down the guy's back, how come they're never cut and bleeding and they don't scar up? We don't see it the next night. How does a guy get back up from a power bomb through a table? I suspend all that because I love the business. But now you're telling me that she does the Jedi mind trick, and now James, I can't. To me, I'll accept just about anything, but when it gets to that nonsense, I'm out. You're making me hate this more, even more. I know this isn't the title match we're talking about, but I can't stand it. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I hate it. The whole stuff with Alexa is just garbage, isn't it? It really is. Like, it should have been the end when she turned on the Fiend at WrestleMania. They should have just distanced it completely. But yeah, here we are. Now she's got a doll and does voodoo.
Phil Tim says, this is why I go to Phil Lindsey for my wrestling information. There you go. See that? You got
Appreciate
a fan.
you, brother.
You got a fan here. I'm telling you.
I hope I'm not being overly negative here. There's so much great talent in their women's division. I think they're doing all of them a disservice at this point. I don't think anybody is getting over. I think rushing and putting Charlotte back in the title picture tells me you don't have faith in your women's division. I don't like anything about it. I mean, I enjoy Charlotte as a heel. I think the promos she's been cutting are great, but I think having her work towards a title match was the way to go. I think just immediately going, hey, let's just put her in a title match because it's Charlotte. It just doesn't really do anything.
So this thing with Rhea, we were all lamenting the fact that Charlotte beat her so easily at Mania that year and that she should have won the belt and we didn't understand why. And then she floundered and then she finally got her shot and now she's there. All that's over. That conversation's ended. It's done. We're no longer talking about Rhea never got her chance and this by crackle, this is not fair. And would you get down here and say hello? Everyone's saying hello to you.
Hey.
Show off that killer shirt that Dad bought for you.
That is an awesome shirt.
It fits great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. HotTopic.com. I fully endorse it. There you go. We're no longer talking about that Rhea because Rhea, she's made it. She's got the title. She's on every TV every week. Rhea's no longer NXT. Those days are over. Now she's in the grind. And as part of the regular main roster grind, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. So we're no longer talking about Rhea should have had a chance. No. She got it. Now she's there. But now that means she can win or lose all the time. And everyone's just kind of taking it on the chin. This is no longer about, man, and once again, NXT Superstars mishandled. Nuh-uh, forget it. It's over. So now she becomes, as Phil, I think you said earlier, 50-50, humdrum, the whole nine. I mean, listen, everyone wanted to be on the main roster. Everyone got their wish. Now you're going to have to put up with this. Am I crazy here, James, or what?
Yeah, they're dangerously close to messing up Rhea already. I think she needs to, as I said, she needs to win this match. She absolutely needs to win this match. If she loses, they've already kind of discredited her as a star.
Yeah.
I feel like it's already happened, to be honest. I think the fact that we're even questioning her tells me.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about where Rhea was as NXT champion, I mean, she was white hot. I mean, you gave her several big wins back to back. You had her look like the biggest star during Survivor Series. She beat Shayna, who was unbeatable at the time. Like, you couldn't have had her in a better position. And she just looks so uncertain now. She doesn't look comfortable doing promos. She's admitted she's not confident. And I think that's the worst thing you could do as somebody who is champion is to, and not to say that, mental health and all these other things are not serious. I don't know what her regular stuff is. And that doesn't mean, these people cannot be vulnerable, but it just speaks to how much they've exposed her. I mean, even in the matches with Asuka, these matches have not been good. And I mean, I don't know why they haven't been good. They're both great. The chemistry is clearly not there. I mean, all three of these matches just have not been great. And I just think at this point, they're putting us in a position where we're at some point going to be begging to just go ahead and just do what you want to do and put the title on Charlotte because they are making it so unbearable at this point.
Yeah. Until you brought all that to light, I don't know if it all registered with me that way. But I think you're right. And it brings up what Punk said about Morrison back when they had those programs. And he talked about, we had so many bad matches. It was terrible. And we could not get a good match. And they were both really good. No chemistry, just nothing happening. And the office crapped on it. They hated it. And it was like, it's one of those aberrations, I guess, guys, where it's like you got two people who should go out there and blow the doors off. But then you're like, that's it. That's all it was. Like, yeah, not a lot of chemistry here.
I think the other part is Asuka doesn't look very motivated. And I mean, why would she? I mean,
why would she?
You haven't given her anything to work with in over a year. I don't know. It looks bad. I really hope Charlotte's not winning here. I think you can try and rehab Rhea here, but yeah, it's tough to not predict Charlotte's going to win. That at best I could say Rhea's going to win, and then maybe there's going to be a one-on-one match with Charlotte at the next pay-per-view. Maybe that's where this is going.
So let's get a consensus if we maybe can. Do we all think Rhea and hope Rhea? Can we all say that?
I hope Rhea.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I've got no confidence in them not putting it on Charlotte, but I hope Rhea.
Yeah. Let's get to the second women's championship match. Bianca Belair versus Bayley, SmackDown Women's Title. Different vibes to this match, different feeling, different scenarios. Phil, what's your first impression of this, and who do you think? Does either one of these ladies need the win, or who would you like to see win?
I mean, Bianca's got to win. She can't lose in her first title defense. I think they've got to figure out a way to keep the momentum going after Bianca had such a good start to the year. And I think they are dangerously close to just going, well, she's great. And it's like, well, you got to give her storylines too. You got to give her stuff to continue to keep the fans invested, because they're already invested, but you got to keep them invested. If it's just, hey, here's this challenger, or here's the challenger of the month, then that's not going to do it.
James, her beating Bayley here after having beaten her tag team partner at Mania would be a pretty nice feather in the cap. You think Bianca has to go over here?
I think so. I think it's too soon for her to lose the title. And I think Bayley's probably the perfect person for her to go into a feud with straight away, because she is so good. And she's such a good heel, like, to Bianca's like babyface. I think the stuff they've done on SmackDown with it has been quite. It's been okay. It's not been great, but I think it's adding a bit more like depth to Bianca as a babyface, and that's what they needed to do.
Yeah, and Phil, to your point, there's something to be said about establishing her, not just putting the belt on her and saying she's awesome. It's not enough, because eventually that will fall flat. Fans will see through that, and it's not fair to her either. You can't call someone great. You have to prove it all the time, and it's, it has to happen here. Shane says Bianca wins, but eventually Bayley cuts her ponytail off. Wow.
I think there's money in a Bianca versus Bayley hair versus hair match.
Hair match. Wow.
I would be here for that.
Main event of a pay-per-view, maybe.
I would be here for that match. And Bayley can sell that. I think she could do all of the heel stuff. And if anybody in the company could do like a really, really short do and get away with it, it's Bayley. I think it would work.
Shane, well done, my friend. I like that. Robbie says, I would have liked to see this as a hair match and then Bianca shave half Bayley's head to have her go even more crazy and give her some story. Wow. So just shave some of it, just enough to make Bayley go, wait a minute. Like, oh, she's such an over actor and she hams it up, but it fits so well because it's phony and it's obviously phony, but she's very good at it being obviously phony. So it's almost like she's in on the joke. It's not like she's not, well, I have to pretend to be crazy. No, she knows that it's phony, but she's so plastic when she talks. Oh, let me tell you guys something. She's very like that. I just think it works for her. I still don't like her haircut. If I'm being straight, I'm not a fan of it. I need to speak to your manager haircut. I can't stand it. That's just me talking. Oh, Victor hits us with Ding Dong Hello. I hated that in the beginning. I actually really like it now.
Yeah, Bailey's so great. I still hate that she didn't get a WrestleMania moment.
I agree.
I think she is for sure this generation's Molly Holly. There's so many comparisons between the two, and I think having a hair versus hair match is like the next step in that comparison.
I'm here for it. Let's talk about the last. Did we pick? We both picked. We all three picked Bianca. There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman. These boys are going to get these hands. I just love doing that.
So wait, there's no women's tag match on this card, even though they've been building to that.
As of right now, no.
It's on SmackDown tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well,
they'll probably put it on.
Yeah, sure. Why have Tamina win at the pay-per-view? Just have it on TV.
You're missing the point, Phil. Someone's gonna get these hands. I love how MVP Monday said, listen, Braun, you're a smart guy. I'm thinking, that's not what the company told us for 6 straight months. They told us he was an idiot. And Shane was doing hopscotch outside the ring, but now he's smart, huh? Okay. James, give me one good reason why I should care about this match. Go.
I can't. I can't. Because I don't care about this match. I think Lashley just needs to keep hold the belt. That's the only. I think much like Roman, Lashley needs to lose that belt in front of fans. They've done a really good job of building them as being like basically filling the void that Brock left. That being said, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Braun's just there to eat the pinfall, so Lashley doesn't, and Drew wins.
Yeah. Wow.
I just don't care. I want to see Lashley feuding with someone else. I want to see Drew feud with someone else. I don't care about Braun. Yeah.
I mean, so what do you think, man? Is it your hope that? All right. So who do you think and who do you hope, or is it the same thing here?
I hope Lashley, but I've got a feeling they're going to put it back on Drew. But I want Lashley to keep hold of it. And by him pinning Braun, it's a built-in reason that Lashley doesn't have to look bad, right? Yeah, exactly. Even to the point where MVP's brought up the fact that's exactly how he lost the US title in a triple threat. They've alluded to it too much for me to think, oh God, they're going to do it, aren't they?
Phil, you were talking about Bianca being too soon. This feels too soon to take it off Lashley. What do you think?
For sure. I think it's too soon. I think you've got to get Lashley away from McIntyre and get him in some new feuds. I mean, and really, you've got to get McIntyre doing something else too, because I just think none of this is helping him. I think Raw's main event scene definitely needs some new blood, like immediately. And I think putting the title back on McIntyre doesn't really help you because you don't have any other heels to go against him at that point. You've got some baby faces you can build. You've got stuff you can do with Lashley as champion, but I don't. Making McIntyre a 3-time champion this soon is kind of crazy. So I think Lashley's going to win here. I'm hoping Lashley's going to win.
I agree with you. James, I definitely see where you're coming from. I definitely think they can go that route. I also think they can keep it on Lashley. No matter what happens, it sure doesn't seem like Braun's winning this title. And it sure seems like that.
No. I don't think anybody thinks Braun's winning here. I don't know what you do with Braun after this match. I don't know. I don't know, man. They've kind of got all three of these guys in a weird position because Lashley was in such a good place with the Hurt Business, and they just split them up for no reason at all. And it doesn't even seem like they're building to anything interesting with those guys afterwards. Like if you're building up Cedric, and the story here is Cedric got too big for his britches, and he comes back and he beats Shelton, and he becomes Lashley's next challenger. That's an interesting storyline. But I don't see anything like that happening.
No. And to anyone begging for New Day to split up, let's look at what's happened since the Hurt Business is split up. I know it's not the same thing. I know it's apples and oranges and whatever, but They don't have a great track record other than the original Shield of splitting up a faction and everybody gets to do something fun. I mean, they were great together. There's a reason why it worked. They had chemistry. It made sense. The whole thing made sense. They looked good together, sounded good together. I'm a sucker for a faction of 4 guys in suits. I'm old school. I think it was great. I think it was a modern day 4 horsemen. And I don't know, man. I still don't understand. James, if you had to pitch the next thing for Strowman, what in the world do you pitch after this? I mean, what's left?
Oh boy. I think they need to just repackage him at this point. I think they've damaged that character so much, and like the whole like train noises and stuff like that. Thankfully they got rid of that. But I think they just need to repackage him to bring back like the monster that was tipping over ambulances and stuff like that.
Everybody's like suddenly begging for a ding dong hello button. I think I might have to make that happen. That'd be fun. That's not even on point, not even on topic here, but man, that might be fun. Maybe you do a swap, put Strowman back on SmackDown and have him go after Roman, and then just throw Seth back to Raw. It's maybe not an even swap, but it gives Strowman something else to do, and he and Roman have history. And this is the issue I have with a guy that's Braun size, his height, his build, his moveset. You almost have to, you got 2 ways. Again, I'm down to the 2 option stuff. I do this all the time. He's either world title contender or he's in Bobby Heenan's family. That's one of the 2. That's what he's got because of his size. I mean, what else is there besides he's a big man WWE, so you put a funny hat on him and he dances? That's something else they do all the time. So is it time, Phil, for the funny hat and he has to dance in the ring?
I mean, they've tried. They've tried to have him dance. They've tried to do all of the formulaic babyface stuff with him, and it just has not worked. I still contend that they doomed Strowman the second he lost that title match to Brock in Saudi Arabia. He clearly should have won that match, and that was just it. They doomed him from that point on. And I don't know how do they fix it, because you're not going to make him an interesting title contender at this point. Even if you move him to SmackDown, nobody thinks he's going to beat Roman. So I don't know. I'm not sure how do you go about making him into a believable threat again.
I mean, of all the guys that we've talked about here on this show, in my opinion, Braun has a tremendous upside when he's done with wrestling. He can do anything. I mean, if you're the Marvel Universe, I'm sorry, but someone in that entire company is going, have you seen this Braun Strowman guy? Dave Bautista speaks highly of him. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, he's natural. I think he's a likable guy. I think and I'm not going to speak for his politics because wow, but he's a Carolina boy. So he strikes me as being down home and good natured and at least likable. And I think all those things play in his favor for when he's done with the business. But I see so many, I don't want to say missed opportunities, but so many times where we could have been talking about Braun on a different level. And he's I feel like we've never seen him be what, like we're seeing Roman as this is, man, how does it get better than Roman with Heyman? How does it get better than the Tribal Chief? I don't think it does. So like, we've never had that with Braun where it's like, oh my God, this is exactly what he needed. Is there an answer here that they're not going with, or is there an answer to why that we're not all saying Braun Strowman, bravo?
I just think you had him lose too many times in those Brock feuds. I think when he was at his hottest and he was doing the Roman stuff and he flipped the ambulance over, he was white hot at that point. That was the time to run with it. And then they didn't. And then they had another chance when Roman, unfortunately had to take a leave. And they didn't do it again. And it was like, okay, if you don't even believe in him when your top guy is not in the picture anymore, why should we?
Yeah, James, I think I feel summed it up for Braun. If they don't believe in him, why would we believe in him? Why would we care?
That's exactly it. I couldn't say it better myself. I've not cared about Braun for such a long time. To the point where like I literally groan when he comes on the TV nowadays because it's just like, great, here we go again. Is Braun? Who's he gonna like lose to now? I just don't care about him.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all three can be in the same agreement. The main roster, especially Raw, needs. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Man. Yeah, I mean, you could pair him with Cameron, and I think it would be amazing. I think it'd be hilarious.
They could put him as a bodyguard for someone. Yeah, that's a really good.
But I mean, it's crazy because I feel like he's outgrown the heater role. But I just don't know what else you can do. I don't know. They've I don't know. They pigeonholed him so much that I just don't know how they can fix it.
It almost feels like you either put the world title on him or you put a secondary title on him and let him have a run as a secondary champion. Because it's almost like, well, he's not main event, but he could be if you needed him to. And he's not a threat to the world champion unless he crosses paths with him. And he's doing enough to have a belt, and he can beat some quality talent, and he can lose by DQ or whatever. And he's got a nice little run. And I kind of feel like we're not doing that. So it's
yeah. I mean, you could easily make him and Cameron a tag team similar to like AJ and Omos are now. And that would be interesting, but I mean, there's a shelf life to that.
And Cameron's a Carolina boy as well, so you got a connection. And it's anyone not liking this pairing, I got something to say to you. You can kiss my grin! I'm just looking for excuses to put Cameron on the show. I found it. All right, kids, it's almost time to take this thing home. Let's open this. By the way, there's your WrestleMania Backlash card. Everybody be sure to pop that popcorn. Have your delicious beverage on hand and get ready. It's going to be a big Sunday. So, yeah. All right. Whatever. The floor is open, my friends. We're going to let this roll about 1:30, then we're getting out of here. So you got 6 minutes. Make it good. Make it count. Oh, Elvis wants to know about ratings. I do have some ratings queued up. In case anyone's curious, let's hit these real quick. This week's SmackDown 2.157 compared to last week's 1.923. Wow. Raw 1.817 compared to 1.872. Not a huge difference anywhere there. This week's AEW 936,000 down from 1.02 million last week. NXT 697 down from 761. AEW seems to be the one that's doing better. That doesn't, I'm not saying it means anything. Everyone calm down. But it seems to be that they're doing better than their former distinguished competition. So does anyone have any thoughts on this? Ray loves to throw the hip hop. Not Ray. Where'd you go, Ray? There's Ray. Loves to throw the hip hop stuff out. Jay-Z or Tupac. And for Phil and James, if you're having a barbecue and Adam Cole was coming, could I get an invite? Also, Jordan is introducing the great Kobe on Sunday. That's a lot to unpack. Phil, let's start with you. What do you got?
I am a Hove guy. I'm sorry. I am a Jay guy. I appreciate Tupac, but I am much more of a Jay-Z fan. In terms of technical ability and everything, you probably have to go with Tupac, but I'm biased. I am a Jay fan. If there's a barbecue and Adam Cole is somehow invited, I don't know how I got this privilege of having Adam Cole at my barbecue, but of course you would be invited, sir.
And what's your thoughts on Jordan inducting Kobe on Sunday?
I think it's great. I think, the touching stuff like Jordan saying he still has his text message in his cell and he still has his number in there and he hasn't erased it. That stuff's really sad. Yeah. It doesn't seem like Kobe's been gone that long. It's just still unbelievable. It's just still unbelievable that he's not here to be able to accept his Hall of Fame induction. It's really sad. I'm glad Jordan's inducting him, though.
Ray, do you go out for all this weird American sports stuff like the basketball? What do they call it where you're at? Like handball or something? Is it like, I'm just curious. Does it have a different name?
Basketball. It's still basketball. Yeah.
I'm playing. I'm messing with you. It's good.
Yeah, it's only soccer and football, which are different here. Yeah, I don't really watch much basketball, but I think Jordan's the right guy to induct Kobe for sure.
Yeah.
As for Tupac or Jay-Z, it's Tupac for me.
Really?
Big Tupac fan. And I don't think I'm going to be having any barbecues anytime soon because it hasn't stopped raining all week.
It's England. It rains every day there, doesn't it?
Most days, yeah. It's been really weird recently. It's been like on and off.
It's
trying to snow yesterday as well.
Oh, dude, I threw some cliches at Troy one day, and he had a great laugh. And I think I said something about what's the form of money I threw at him, and he goes, "What? That was like the 1900s or something." And I forget what it was. I threw at
guineas.
him. No, maybe it was shilling. What was it? I threw at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes,
Yeah.
It was. I was half joking and half not joking because I really didn't know, so I just kind of threw it out there. And he goes, "Shillings, what?" And he's putting a bunch of ha-has on the comment. Yeah. He's like, "That's not what we do anymore." And I'm like, "Well, how am I supposed to know what you're doing? I'm not over there." So I get all my information about England from movies and TV, as you should. So that's where my frame of reference begins and ends. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't. It's very fitting that MJ is inducting Kobe for sure. For me, it's hard to choose. I'll say Jay-Z though. My kid would pick Tupac in a heartbeat. I'm sure he does. Shannon says, Tom, Phil, and James, we all know Raw is terrible, but name one thing you love about Raw. I like when it ends. That's pretty good. When it's over.
One thing I love about Raw. Oof.
Bobby Lashley. That's mine. Love Bobby Lashley.
I enjoy New Day as a tag team. There you go. One of the greatest tag teams of all time.
New Day should never split up. Ever. Sandy says, please, yeah, folks, everyone go follow Sandy's World of Wrestling Facebook page. He would very much appreciate it. Mark says, I love when Raw goes to commercial. Like, man, I really liked that commercial last night. Elvis said, Eva Marie is what I love about Raw.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will reserve judgment until I see what she does. She's been living in the gym for a long time with that Brock Lesnar kid. What's his name?
Parker Bordeaux.
We'll see. I'm going to reserve judgment. We'll see. Victor says Sheamus on Raw is.
That is true. He's been having.
Sheamus been awesome recently.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. I like Sheamus. I've had Sheamus's back for years when no one else did. I did. I like him a lot. I still think.
Watch Daniel at WrestleMania.
I didn't like that much, but I'll be honest with you. I wasn't really in the bag for Daniel on that show like a lot of people were. I kind of thought Daniel hasn't earned this. I didn't think he earned the title. Not like Daniel the guy. I'm talking about the character. I didn't think Daniel the character had earned anything at that point because he was such a joke. They were making fun of him, and I mean, he was a heel. I get it, but I kind of felt like, why not beat him in 30 seconds? I don't know. Like I like Sheamus. I didn't really hate that as much as a lot of people hated it. Like, I still think one of Sheamus's defining moments was the night that he came out for the first time ever and babied out when Mark Henry was in the ring, going to manhandle Teddy Long, and he come out and grabbed the mic and said, I'll fight him. And the crowd went, oh my God, I think we like Sheamus. I thought that was great. That's one of those few times where I'm like, that was pretty cool. He can be a great babyface when they need him to be. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He's just such a better heel than he is anything else. Sandy says Zelina Vega returning to WWE. What have you guys, Phil, what have you heard about this?
So apparently Fightful reported it, and then our good friend Dave Meltzer confirmed that Fightful is correct. Well, so it sounds like it's happening. Boy, this sure makes like all of that union talk look interesting. I don't know. I don't know where we're going. It was like, hey, I'm a fan of unions, making all of my OnlyFans money. You can't take my Cameo and Twitch away. Oh, I can come back? I don't know, man. I don't know if she's coming back for good. I don't know. I think the precedent she was setting was a good one. I would hate to see that go away.
Yeah, so the Fightful article, I was trying to get it up on my phone then. So it basically, she came to record something which would indicate that either she's doing one of those like Chronicle things for a comeback, or they're doing like a 24 on Aleister Black maybe.
Yeah.
But she came in to record stuff. She did arrive with Simone Johnson as well, which I don't know what that means, but whether there's more to read into that or whether she just like kind of bumped into her in the car park and came in. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting because surely based on like what she was standing up for, they'd have to kind of give her some assurances that she'd be allowed to still do that.
Yeah.
Which then it kind of falls into the territory of, well, if she is, why can't everyone else? But hopefully it just leads them doing away with all this third party nonsense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another example of how they're creatively stifling their talent. They're handcuffing them in a lot of instances. And look, I get it, kids. You can probably, I say probably because nowadays you're not sure, probably make a lot more money working for Vince than you could anyone else. Maybe. I don't know. Depends on who you are, right? I guess, and what company we're talking about. So yeah, but we'll see. Tim says, do y'all see Ty Conti as a future AEW, I guess, champion? Maybe. Let me say something about Ty Conti. She's grown on me. I think she's gotten much better. I didn't like her NXT at all. I think we hear way too much about the jiu-jitsu stuff. I still don't know why we're still seeing her in a gi. I mean, I get it. It's her thing. It's fine. But man, her Twitter is all about her half naked. And no disrespect. I don't care. I'm flipping through my time like, bam, there she is. I'm like, all right. I don't know. Maybe that sounds sexist. I don't mean it to, but it's almost like, I don't know. Where am I going with this? I like her. I don't here. I guess here's what I'm meaning up. Is the focus there in terms of this wrestling stuff is me? This is what I want. Am I crazy? I mean, do you guys see a focus that I'm not seeing? I got to be a star or I want to be a wrestler? I mean, what do you think? What do you think, Troy? Is Troy here? Holy God. We'll go with James. James, go.
I think she's probably going to be AEW Women's Champion at some point. She's improved leaps and bounds in the last 12 months, that's for sure. I love the stuff that she did with Nyla Rose earlier in the year. And yeah, I'd like her to be the person to eventually take the belt off Britt when Britt inevitably wins it at Double or Nothing.
What do you think, Phil? What do you think her future is in that company?
I think she can eventually be champion. I think she has the potential to do some of the stuff that Thunder Rosa is doing in terms of doing MMA stuff and, getting better at the wrestling stuff. So I think she's got a high ceiling right now. I think she has absolutely benefited more than most from her WWE release. I mean, other than Deanna, I think she is.
I was going to say
there.
that.
But yeah, I think she could be champion. I mean, the only problem is there are so many other women in that division that are also trending upwards. Like, I mean, Jay Cargill is going to be champion eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming. You still got Chris Statlander, who would make a fantastic champion. I really like Red Velvet. I also think she would make a great champion. So, I mean, it's a good problem to have that you have so many good wrestlers at this point that could conceivably be champions.
I like Conti a lot. I do. I just don't want them to rush her before she's ready. And I think one good match at a time, build the resume up a little bit, and then we'll talk down the road about her getting a title match. And either whether win or lose, she establishes herself as a name. I do think the women's division is in much better shape now than it was 6 months ago in terms of how they're building the talent, presenting the talent. And I'm here for it. I love it right now, actually. Shannon says, I love how much the Dark Order loves Hangman. I love the fact these guys don't have to be in the ring to get over. They don't have to do anything to get over. I love that. It's the way they pine over him as if he's their hero is some great stuff. This is how you do comedy and pro wrestling without the crowd going, oh God, this is so bad, as the other guys tend to do. These guys are naturally funny. They enjoy each other's company. You can so tell they're having fun. Dude, if I'm in AEW, I'm like, can I please work with the Dark Order? They're fun. Like, how do you not want to work with those guys, Phil? Honestly, they just so much fun.
They look like they're having a blast. I mean, the stuff they were doing with Maki Ito was so funny.
Yeah.
The stuff they do with Paige is funny. I mean, the fact that they still have Brody's painting in the background and all their segments is really awesome.
Yeah.
I love everything they're doing. I really like Anna Jay as well. That's another one that could possibly be AEW Women's Champion at one point. They've just got a lot going. I mean, I really love John Silver. He's another one who could easily be a champion someday. He's fantastic. And I mean, you still got the original two guys in Dark Order that are a great tag team.
Yeah. And that promo that Paige cut on Wednesday, and he ended it with double or nothing. And then John goes, "Oh my God, did you hear what you just did? Did you do that on purpose? Did you just say it off the top of your head?" And he's like a little kid. Dude, I had to go back and watch that again because I laughed so hard at that. Because he's just, of everybody on that show, like Mox is real. Cody can be real, I guess, but John is the most real, I think, in terms of he just feels like a real guy. He's not trying to play a character. I got nothing but good things to say about it. I never thought I'd hear myself a year later say the Dark Order is awesome. But man, the Dark Order is awesome. I love them. Good stuff. One more. We're going to go home, kids. One more. Make it good. Let's scroll. Maybe I won't say one that hits a home run. Maybe we'll just take a home. One just popped up. Let's end on this. Why not? Sandy in Germany says 205 Live is underrated. Listen, forgive my ignorance. Where is 205 Live right now? Where am I missing it at? Where am I missing it? I watch the videos and stuff on YouTube, but where am I missing the show?
It's on the network, isn't it? Oh,
is it on the network like full time?
Yeah, it airs straight after SmackDown.
Yeah, I still don't understand the decision of taking the title off of 205 Live. And I think that it relegated it into a spot where it feels unimportant. It now feels like kind of like main event with cruiserweights. Because there's no stakes. There's nothing to build towards. But I want 205 Live to succeed. I thought 205 Live at one point was their best show. I think if you put the title back on that show and do interesting things, you could easily put Dominic on that show and he could be the face of 205 Live.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons why I don't really care about it anymore. They did take the title off. I did make a point to watch it every time it was on TV because it was exciting. It was an exciting show to watch. It's a wrestler's product, that show.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, kids. Before we get out of here, Phil, not to cut you off. Did I cut you off? My bad.
No.
Before we get out of here, let's let the fine gentlemen of Tom Clark's Main Event announce to you all where you can find them on the internet. James, let's start with you. Talk up your podcast, man. Let them know where they can find it.
So I am from the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. You can find us wherever all podcasts are available. Also on Twitter, Twitch, and we've got a Discord server, which is Untitled Rest Pod. And over on Facebook, Untitled Wrestling Podcast, and YouTube is Untitled Wrestling Podcast as well. We're not doing a watch along for WrestleMania Backlash because, as I said before the podcast started, I forgot it was this weekend. But yeah, we do watch. We're doing a watch along for Double or Nothing. We do like live reactions and stuff like that, and we review pretty much everything that we can.
Very cool. Go check out the show, guys. It's fun for sure. Phil, hit him with the details, man. What you got?
You can find me on Twitter at PhilDL616. You can find my writing at Bleacher Report. I just dropped an article today on my power ranking of the best tag teams in wrestling today. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for this list, but I dropped it and I am running away. So that's where we are.
Phil's moving to an island in Barbados somewhere, and that's where he'll spend his final days. There you go, kids. As always, you can find your boy right here most every Friday. Subscribe to Tom Clark's Main Event, free on most podcast platforms, as is Tom Clark's 6M Podcast. Phil knows a little something about that. We're still trying to get James on the show. We just got to find the right time. James is an international man of mystery. And I am a domestic dude of normalcy. I just came up with that. I'm going to write that book.
That's quite good.
Thank you. That'll make up for me calling you Troy earlier. Maybe. I don't know. James is like, nothing makes up for you calling me Troy earlier. There you go. All right, kids. Thanks one and all. Gentlemen, thank you as always for being on the show. My appreciation to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Kids, thanks as always. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see everybody. If everything goes well, and it should, hopefully next Friday, everybody be sure you tune in. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Backlash. You guys must know by now that whenever I remove myself from the mic and do this, it's probably going to be nonsense. By the way, there's the dog. He took this long to show up. He's got to get his cameo in. There you go. All right, we're getting out of here. Kids, have a great weekend. We appreciate you. See you next time. Tom Clark's Main Event.